Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel and welcome to Live Q&A. It is February 3rd, 2025. We are back to some normality. This is the first week after our Game Found campaign successfully funded, which thank you very much. Thank you, and thank you to everybody. So that happened. And now we're kind of getting back into a groove. This end of this week is the big game bash in Fort Myers. So if you're in South Florida, come on out. We're going to have a great weekend of gaming this Friday and Saturday. And of course, we're getting ready for Dice Tower West. You have only 11 days to buy your tickets online. So, or maybe a little bit more than 11, but not many. 2 weeks to buy your tickets online. After that, you have to buy them at the door. And yeah, so all that stuff is going on. So if you have any questions, this is a Q&A. Hey, ask what's going on with the Dice Tower, yada, yada, yada. And we'll jump into it. Is that a Funky Town motif? It is not, actually. You can keep guessing if you want. It was not a song that I would normally listen to, that it came off of, but I like the Dice Tower version of it. Hey, there's no question, so let's see, what else can we talk about? Played a game over the weekend, not many more than that. I kind of crashed really hard on Saturday. I was so tired. I got up, I did some shopping, then took a nap, which I almost never do, and then just kind of chilled for much of Saturday. Yesterday was more involved at church and some various things about that, but still kind of rested a lot. So that was my weekend. Civilization 6 came out on the iPad, so I play that in my free time. Civilization 7 is coming out very soon. I'm tempted to play that one live here on the channel. We'll see. It might actually be too much of a strain on the computer. I enjoy April and Ruby's. I think you mean Violet and Ruby, but yes. Will we start seeing more Jimmy? Maybe. I think more brief on and off. He hasn't shown any desire to do it. Can I still taste the hot dog candy? No, but we still have some left here. Man, that's super gross. So I bought it all for my kids as like a joke present in their stockings. I gave them tons of fun candy, but I forget what the flavors are. I mean, there was ketchup and pizza. Those are both terrible. Hot dog and bacon. What were the other two flavors? One might have been pickle and mustard. I am forgetting exactly. Let me look it up here and see. I can look through my Amazon orders and find that out. Hot dog candy, McPhee hot dog candy. There we go. They also, fried chicken. Fried chicken. There was fried chicken. There was ketchup. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Customers who buy this also buy that. And so if I click fried chicken, will that bring up some of the other flavors? I don't know if I tried the fried chicken. I definitely tried the ketchup, and it was just like, it was just so terrible. Bacon. Yeah, anyway. You can imagine how gross they are. Anyhow, let's see here. Have you heard whether the new tariffs will affect the board game industry at all? Kickstarter games? No. I know nothing about this. As always with the Dice Tower, we try to stay out of politics. Obviously, tariffs is a thing that affects us directly, possibly. But at this point in time, I don't know anything. We'll find out as it happens. But I guarantee you some Kickstarter is going to use this as the reason that their whole thing falls apart. Any chance you'll revisit top 10 lists like best games to play with 2 that also include games that aren't necessarily made for 2? Like Oathsworn plays okay with more, but best with 2. I don't know. I really like Oathsworn with 3, so I'm not sure that let's see. I'm looking here. So yeah, I don't know. We will redo it. I don't know. What upgrades have I had to Terrorscape? I added a 3D printed keys thing where you put the keys in. I added the radio that you put together, and everything is painted that's inside it. So that's mostly it. I think there might be some other 3D tokens that replace some of the tokens on the board. Yes, I know the castle exists, but until I can find a good way to put it in the library, it's not going to happen. What do I think about Galactic Cruise? I've not played it yet. Please bring it to Fort Myers. Bring what to Fort Myers? The candy? I don't know what you're talking about. Was there a specific game you first introduced each of your kids to? I don't remember. I will say, I remember Melody. I played Yummy with her, a little card game. That was the first game we played together. But I don't remember the first game I played with the other kids. I heard the Black Powder expansion for the Great Wall is really good. I messed with it, looked at it, but I haven't played with it. I just looked at it, that's all. Wonder if Parks felt the People's 100 so far because it's getting harder to find because of the new printing. Maybe, but there's lots of games that are hard to find that are still on the list. I believe that one of your children is getting married soon. Did you have the cookie table tradition at weddings where you grew up in Pennsylvania? I don't know. I don't remember going to many weddings. I went to like 3 or 4 when I was a kid, and I don't remember anything about them other than I thought they were incredibly boring. So that's about it. What am I missing with Marvel United? Only tried the base game. What expansion should I try to love it as much as UNZ? Well, hey, first of all, you don't have to love it as much as us. It was like 176 on my list with just the base game. Playing the expansions and mixing and matching are just a lot of fun. Sinister Six is my favorite expansion, if you can get that one. It's fun to fight a lot of different bad guys. But honestly, the thing that really changed my mind on it was just the Kickstarter stuff. You get a box with a gazillion more characters and villains, you start mixing and matching them, and you find some lot of fun combinations. Fantastic Four is also very good. Bring the hot dog candy. I don't have, oh, the hot dog candy, there's like 3 pieces left. I don't know. I got other things that are important. Opinion on this year's Royal Rumble. Well, actually, so me, Joey, and Brian watched it sort of together live. We just texted each other back and forth while we were watching it. Yeah, so it's my favorite. I'm not a huge WWE person at all. But for some reason, the Royal Rumble is amusing to me. Also, it looked like that one guy got murdered in the match before that somehow. I think he's okay, hopefully. The Royal Rumble was a lot of fun. At first, we were like halfway through, and I'm like, Brian, I don't know any of these people. Who are all these people? But when I got to the second half, I knew all the wrestlers, or most of them anyway. It was a lot of fun. I was rooting for John Cena to win, but I was okay with how it went down. The whole thing was a lot of fun, so that was interesting. And since you didn't ask, I'm going to also give my review-ish of Mr. Beast's games. So this is on Amazon. Now, Mr. Beast is the biggest YouTuber in the world. We've had the tiniest bit of crossover here at Dice Tower with him in the sense that Roy went to an event that the Dire Wolf people ran where he played Dune Imperium. I've never met him. Even Roy, when he went there, barely met him. He's very, very famous. He's more famous than most Hollywood stars. His channel's very famous. Love him or hate him. You can hate the guy all you want, I suppose, but he's very, very popular. But he's running these Mr. Beast games where they start with 2,000 people. I think it was 2,000. Maybe it was only 1,000, but it was a lot of people. And they're whittling it down to 1. That winner gets $5 million. Okay, that's interesting, right? $5 million is no small change. And Mr. Beast channel has a lot of interesting, fun things he does. It's very, very Gen Z, Gen Alpha type stuff, and so a lot of it I sit there and kind of roll my eyes at, but I get it. My kids like it a lot. My kids were not big fans of this show, though. So they right now, at this point, there's still 2 episodes left. They're at 10 people. They're going to whittle it. In the next episode, they're about to whittle it down to 6, and then from those 6, there's 1 winner. The problem is there's just so much randomness in the show. And the show, which is obviously very naughty towards Squid Games, has a lot of, I pick something. So, for example, in the very first episode, there's a bunch of rows there, and if somebody will give up their spot, their row is safe. Why would anyone do that? In game purposes, that's like me. So we're just talking about a fun game. If there's 5 of us sitting at a table, why would I quit the game so that 2 other people can stay in it? There's no benefit to that. So it just ends up people yelling at each other to quit so that their team will be saved. Those people quit. Everyone applauds them, but they go home with no money. And that frequently happens over the course of this game. There's some things that are interesting. You know, there's some interesting games. At one point, they actually did some actual games. But for the most part, Mr. Beast seems to like this idea of you pick someone and kick them out of the game. I mean, I don't mind things where he offers money, and if you leave the game right now, you get money. That's sort of interesting, although the 3rd or 4th time that happens, it gets old. And there was some very lunatic people in there where there was 4 people. They split them up in the group into 4 teams. And I apologize if this is spoiling it for you, then just skip ahead 5 minutes, but they're just games. And these 4 leaders of these teams, they said they split everyone up into 4 groups, and they said, okay, we're going to give you 4 leaders. So each team elects a leader. The leader goes up and they're like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start running this money up, and as soon as the leader hits the button, they get that money, but their whole team is eliminated. And so, of course, the teams are infuriated to find this out, and they're hoping that their leader has enough stamina to avoid taking this money. Then they said that leader not only would get that money, but they get to stay in the game too. Wow. So they're not eliminated with their team. So money goes up and up and up and up and goes to $1 million, and none of the 4 leaders took that money. Okay. So we can look at them, and everyone looks at them and goes, they're heroes. But I don't think their families looked at it that way. If you're married to one of these people at home, you're just like, take the $1 million. What's wrong with you? Not to mention, I think almost all of them have been eliminated since. And can you imagine that, just being eliminated and you took the $1 million? So there's a lot of games like that. And so incidentally, I was like, you know what, kids, let me show you a different game. So they've never seen Survivor, so we picked a random season. Hopefully it's a good one. I don't know. And I'm showing them a season of Survivor to show them a better run thing. Yes, Survivor has its problems, but it just looks like a much better game. Yes, you have to persuade people. Yes, there's politics, but there's just a whole better game system around it. So love or hate Survivor, I think it's a better game than Mr. Beast games. Yes, Mr. Beast games are amusing to watch, and we're going to watch it to the bitter end, but my kids keep yelling throughout it like, why would these people do that? There's people crying in the game when they eliminate someone else, but only one person can win. And there's people like, hey, we'll go all the way to the end, but only one person can win. In Survivor, you make alliances so that those people vote for you at the end. And or I know that there's smaller amounts of money in the top 10 for Survivor, but there's no benefit here in Mr. Beast games to that whole, hey, we're in this together type situation. So the whole thing is a little odd, and to me it's astounding because the number of stupid people in the game who get angry that they're betrayed. First of all, you're going to get betrayed. It's a game about $5 million. But also just people saying, I'll quit, but at least I retained my honor. You lost your honor the minute you started playing these games. Anyway, that is my opinion on the Mr. Beast games. Oh, thank you for the comment on the top 100. How much of Marvel United is in the library? If I want to play a Marvel Unite campaign at Dice Tower West, I don't think it's all in the... I don't know what's in the Dice Tower West library, I apologize. In the Dice Tower East library, we have some. We have the basic... We have Marvel X-Men and the Spider one and the regular Marvel. So we have 3 starter boxes, and then they're full of as many characters and villains as I could fit in there without the boxes getting overcrowded, which is still a small sliver of what's actually in the game, but it's a lot more than you would get in a base box. Did Unconscious Minds ever get replaced? I found someone who has sent me another copy. We have not gotten it yet. Cookie Table is a Pittsburgh thing, and I'm from East Pennsylvania. Well, there you go. Meeting you and the other Dice Tower folks at the UK Games Expo was one of the highlights. Any chance you'll be back in the UK at some point in the future? Possibly. It is not currently on our schedule for this year. I really like your top 10 list. It'd be cool if you revisit some older ones from time to time. Thank you also for supporting us on GameFound. We do revisit our top 10 lists from time to time. I'm not always trying to think up new ones. I also go back and look at older ones and redo them, so assume that. Tom, I want to know your opinion on a small card game called Monopoly Deal. I just want to make sure that I'm thinking of the right game here on Board Game Geek. Monopoly Deal. Yep, I gave it a 1.5. I hated it so very much. But if you like it, that's fantastic. I'm not trying to put it down. My friends and I play a ton of Space Base. Is there an expansion that you'd recommend we start with first? I'd get the newest one. For life me, I can't remember what it is, though. But the one that came out last year. What's the name of the convention you're going to in Mexico? It is called Roll a Game. Roll a Game. Outside of CCG type games, you know which board game has the most expansions? It's easy. The easy answer is Carcassonne, but that's maybe not true. I mean, it depends if you're counting each promo as expansion, because then there's a gazillion. But of straight expansions to the game, it's probably Carcassonne. Do you have any recommendations for a light medium game that's similar to something like Wingspan or Everdell? I can't get my girlfriend interested in heavier games. Well, then why would you even want to? Yeah, there's tons of games out there, but I mean, you'll have to watch the reviews. I can't give you a list of games necessarily that she would like. There's a lot of games out there. Some are a little bit higher, some are not. I mean, try Finspan. That's the new fish version of Wingspan. But that's why we do our reviews, to help you out, try to figure out which ones would be good for you. I really like the Dice Tower socks and the crowdfunding campaign. Any plans or interest in doing more non-shirt clothes or accessory? Non-shirt clothing, probably not. I mean, you can look at our dicetowerstore.com for the different shirts, and I think there might be even hats there, but I'm not making scarves and gloves and things that we'll sell four of. You know, socks themselves are kind of tricky. Mike said at a friend that he went from 2,000 to 1,000. They got bumped near the start. Yeah, there was just a lot of people in it. We will be doing a full review on Perch soon. My local game store started carrying a small store of magic tricks. Do you think there's a natural crossover of people who like games and people who are interested in magic tricks? Well, why not? There's lots of crossovers. If I owned a game store, I would have several crossover things in it, from puzzles to crafts, maybe, to whatever. I would want to have I would want to sell as much stuff as I possibly could. Tom, I saw you on Crafting RZM, and the show showed me that people in the board game industry do what they do for love of hobby, not for fame and fortune. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure people want fame and fortune to some degree, right? When you design a game, you want people to play it. You want people to tell you they like it. But you're not going to get fame and fortune in almost any part of life, so you might as well do something you enjoy doing. Any thoughts on the Comic Conner issues? The component issues aren't bad, but I was missing. Well, then you'd have to get in touch with Spin Master. My participation in Comic Conners was to put Dice Tower Seal of Excellence. Put it Dice Tower Essentials line. But unlike the rest of Arcane Wonders, this one was produced by Spin Master, so the quality of the game is because of Spin Master, and the percentage of that game that I get is a percent of a percent. It's so minute, it's not even a thing. Again, I would love if Spin Master, but I have no context of Spin Master. Arcane Wonders has worked with them. You're going to have to contact them yourself. I apologize. Loopy says, just so everyone's aware, Mr. Beast, who's named Jimmy, spends most of his money on charitable work, does a lot of good stuff. I'm not trying to criticize him as a person. I'm just saying his games are stupid for the most part in this particular instance. I think the way Mr. Beast games runs is a problem because, A, I think the games put together, there's some interesting games in there, but there's also some really dumb and stupid games that just feel random and not that fun. And I also think that the group of players who got in, there's just a lot of people who are making a lot of foolish decisions. It's kind of mind-blowing to me. Have you ever thought about having a camera microphone on the producer of the live events to see the reaction or make comments? I think the way we have it now is fine. You wouldn't want someone off screen making comments like that on camera all the time, and it would become a big issue, I think. I don't mind them comments and stuff being made off screen and on, but I think it's the best way it should be done. Are there any good home version of a popular TV game show? Well, probably. Maybe someone else in the comments can think of one. Congrats on another year of funding. I'm sorry you didn't make the stretch goal to expand the studio. What were the plans for the studio expansion? I wanted to enclose our back porch. It's a pretty large back porch, and then we can move more office people out there and kind of spread out a bit so we're not all on top of each other. And it'll also give us some more space for storage. What game on Z mics or the People's List most surprised you? Man, off the top of my head, I don't remember. I know there was a couple I was very surprised about, but I don't remember now. I apologize. When considering your top 100, how do you weigh how much fun you had historically with a game with how much you still want to play a game moving forward? It's almost all tilted towards how much I want to play a game moving forward. How much fun historically I played a game, I would end up putting things like Uno on the list because I had so much fun playing that with my family as a kid. So I thought that was super fun. But that doesn't necessarily mean I think it's a great game now. We've said you like the Marvel team decks. Have you tried the campaign decks? No, and I'm not going to. It's the one part of Marvel United I have zero interest in. I like Marvel United where I just pull some heroes, I pull a villain, I play it. I don't even like playing the 5 games in a row to play against Thanos or whatever. I just want to play a game of Marvel United. Now, some people are going to ask me, I'm going to ask this question a lot, GameFound versus Kickstarter. Until the whole year is over, I won't know. Here's how you'll know. See what I use next year. And that's not like I already know. I don't know which one I'm going to use next year, so we'll just have to wait and see. Have you or your children visited Roy's store? Yeah, me and my son were there for the grand opening. We swung by, and he wanted to buy. I was like, "Hey, pick something for anime." And he didn't want any anime stuff. He's like, "What about one of these games?" And I was like, "Are you kidding? I have these games at home." We ended up getting a stuffed animal or something. Is Lorcana losing popularity? Well, yes. And I don't mean that in any negative thing because everything Star Wars Unlimited, the game I love, is losing popularity. Most collectible games, most games lose popularity when they come out. So this is not a negative thing on Lorcana. Now, I guess the question is it still popular? That I don't know of as much. I don't know how popular Lorcana is at any given moment. But I think so far it seems to be doing, I still see people playing it at my store. This person says, Mr. Beast is very fake. Scary how people cannot see it. Well, what do you mean by Mr. Beast is very fake? He's a real person. I know because Roy met him and talked to him briefly. I met other people who know him in real. Are you saying the games are fake? Well, I'm always very cautious to say that unless you have absolute proof. We do things here in the Dice Tower. Are we fake? I hope we're not, right? But how do you know I'm not fake and he is fake? I think we have to be very cautious on that. Above Board posted the unaired pilot episode you were in last week. I did not notice that. Oh, that's interesting. Wow, that's so long ago. They did the whole pilot. They did the whole show. That'd be interesting. I don't think I've even seen the whole show. I just seen parts of it. I have not seen this movie you're talking about here. The Dragon Eclipse game we're playing tomorrow will be with 2 players. It'll be me and Camilla playing it. Are you going to watch Captain America Brand New World? Yeah. I'm not like super excited about it. That sounds terrible. But yeah, I'll watch it. Is there any trend in gaming which you find troubling or not positive? Well, yeah, I think the idiocy with the gigantic game and having games that are bigger than your table, huge games with tons of stuff being the norm, I find to be troubling. Not every game needs to be massive and huge. And I think that, and then coming out with a bigger one next. And I get it, some of my favorite games have been done this way. And I think it's okay to have a big game or two. It seems like everything's that way. Well, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's not troubling, but there's just too many big, giant games. Looking forward to any new trailers coming out this Super Bowl weekend. You know, I forgot the Super Bowl was this weekend, so I looked it up yesterday, and I was like, I didn't schedule anything for a Super Bowl. Oh, well. I don't really know that I care. I'll watch the trailers maybe at some point. Do you have any Grail games? Not really. Will I do a top 100 kids and family list? Maybe. It wouldn't be watched very much, so there's that. Will the Dice Hour Cruise live RPG show be uploaded? Yes, actually. Just keep an eye out. In the next month or so, you'll see it. Or maybe this week, or maybe next month. Will you visit a board game convention in the Netherlands one day? Maybe, if I'm asked to one. We'll see. I'm going to one in Mexico. There's a chance I'm going to one in Philippines this year. And the rest stuff is in America, I think, except for Essen. Do we have a template for when the team reviews games? I don't know what you mean by template. I suspect you might mean, do we have like a rubric? And we do not have a rubric. Just give the game whatever you think it is. You think the game's amazing, give it a 10. You think it's terrible, give it a 1. Anywhere in between. We don't have one. Any updates on Chief Sokotoa? Well, no, but I'll tell you what. This hot dog candy that I had this week, I mentioned it. I sent a munchgram to Chief Sokotoa, and he is, because I was astounded, because when I had the hot dog candy, one of the things was I was like, I feel like I've had this before, and we did. It's a very similar taste in the main delicacy of the Rakens, which live in the 16th moon of the 13th asteroid of the 4th moon of La Braca, which is a planet that's maybe 1.5 times the size of Jupiter. Anyway, it's actually in our universe, which is rare because I'm usually talking about stuff in other universes, but this one isn't ours. But it's very far away. We can't even measure it in light years. We measure it in X, which is a billion light years. I was never that good at the different measurements. Anyway, yeah, so we were there one time, and they were having a feast in honor of something, and so we were forced to go to it. It was a pretty terrible time. So we had to chuckle over that, but nothing other than that. Vanessa says, I haven't been excited about the MCU in years. I stopped caring after Endgame. Well, I thought both Spider-Man movies were very, very well done. The Spider-Man movies were very good. And I like a lot of the movies. They just need to start tying the stuff together. Any good new hats lately? I've not got a good new hat in a while, and that is not a problem. I have a lot of good hats, so I don't need a new hat. There's some questions I'm skipping because I've already answered them in this very Q&A, so you can always go back and scroll through and see. And some questions, if I don't answer it the first time through, I probably won't answer it the second time through. I don't answer every game that's coming out because I just can't get to all the games. And we'll review them when we review them is usually the best answer. Do you prefer to play at a flat table or a game table? Oh, I prefer to play on game tables if I can. I like the recess play area a lot. The Philippine event, I don't know exactly yet. They'll announce it when they announce it, and it's not 100% done yet. I'm still working on the details, so we'll announce it when it happens. Am I excited for the new upcoming Superman movie? I am. It looks really good. Should I be signing up for games at Dice Tower West or just go see all there is to see? I would not sign up for games there. You just look for green flags. There's people who put them up, and if you can't find one with a green flag, you put one up, and you'll get people to play games. And if you can't find that, then find me, and I'll get you in a game. We're talking thousands of people there playing games. So many games, you have a great time. And if you can't find any of those games, there's a big demo area where you can go and demo games with people, so you'll be fine. What have I just tuned into? You've tuned into Dice Tower Q&A with Tom Vasel. Da, 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 da. Any plans of reviewing X-Men Dice Tower? I don't know what that is. Is there an X-Men Dice Tower? That'd be cool. I think you mean X-Men Dice Throne, possibly. Did Comic Hunters fall off my top 100? I don't believe it ever was on my top 100. Again, you got to remember that I have played 9,000 games, and I don't say that to be like woo. I mean a little bit, because 100 out of 9,000 is pretty high. It's 1 out of 90 games that makes that list. That's pretty big deal. It's not quite a percent of the games I played, 1% that made the list, but in 2 years it will be. In 2 years I'll have played 10,000 games, and that's going to be a lot. Have you tried watching Severance? Oh, indeed I watch Severance, and in fact, every Friday morning, it's the first thing I do when I wake up now, because well, not this past Friday, because of the Game Found. But I'm very excited about it. I'm very much enjoying the new season. I have lots of questions. No one around here watches it fast enough for me to talk to them about it, so I just have to sit there and think them in my head. Is there any big mystery series like Lost you get into? I'm very hesitant to do that, though, because I assume at this point any big mystery series will get tied up and then not answer any of the questions. Does anyone at Dice Tower play Star Wars, Legion, or games like that? If you mean like strong tactical miniature games, not particularly. That's almost a non-board game thing, really, at this point. Is there a cruise destination that you want to travel to go in coming years in Dice Tower cruises? Nah, I'm good with wherever they go. I just like being on the cruise. My brother and I are planning to come to Dice Tower in 2026, hopefully. Well, tips for a first-time attendee, just come and have fun. That's a long ways away, though, for me to give you tips for something that's happening in a year and a half. But it's a fantastic time. Just come and play games. That's my tips. Do you use an app to sort your top 10? We use something called PubMeeple. PubMeeple lets you sort out all kinds of things, but games is one of them. You can even import your Board Game Geek collection. Well, I'm assuming you can. I can't, but that's probably because mine is, like I said, 9,000 games. I probably broke the system. Also, I'm not making 9,000 comparisons, so I just type mine in manually. Am I excited for the Epic Universe opening in a few months? Sort of. Booked my tickets yet? Oh no! First of all, how rich do you think I am? I don't have enough money to go. Secondly, even if I did, it's going to be packed beyond belief. I have debated, I actually talked to my kids, like, we should buy tickets to regular Universal on that day because it's going to be empty. Anyway, but it might not be empty because a lot of people are going to buy, I think you can buy like a 3-park ticket or whatever. So a lot of people might do the other parks first and then hit the other one third. So it's going to be crowded. I prefer D6 or D12, but I have friends that swear by D10 or percentile dice. I feel like the odds on D6, D12 are more obfuscated, at least for me, so to me more fun to have a preference. I don't know what you mean by that. Are you talking about a role-playing system? I'm not sure what you mean by dice. I just like rolling dice. I don't really care. I want the odds to be good and percentage-wise. I like rolling all of them. My favorite dice to roll are D12s, but that's because they roll the best. But I'm not 100% sure what you mean by, like, which dice are better. I plan to come to Australia anytime in the near future. Not at the moment. Do you ever feel that modern board gaming is far too expensive? No. Coming from a video game background, it does seem unsustainable to ask for such large sums of money at the speed people consume games. Well, that's different, right? I don't think board gaming is expensive, but if you have to buy new board games all the time to be happy, then yes, it is. But if you're just buying a board game, you're like, oh, that board game costs $80. Yeah, so did your meal. You know, going out to eat is more and more expensive. It's no longer, I remember very much when Laura and I went out to eat in Korea one time. We went out for our anniversary. It might have been our 2-year anniversary, 23 years ago. And the meal total came to, I think, $70, and I about fell out of my chair. I didn't know how to handle that. It was so expensive. I couldn't believe we had paid that much money to eat out. I wouldn't blink now if we went somewhere and it was $70. Now it would still be a little expensive, right? But it wouldn't be a fancy restaurant necessarily. And it just kind of it blows my mind how expensive food is, right? And you eat it and you're done and it's one meal. You go to movies, you watch a movie, it's done. And yet we complain about $8 board game. Again, yes, if you're buying 3 or 4 every week, your whole year round, then yes, it's an expensive hobby. But by itself, you can have fun with that board game for the rest of your life. So no, I don't think it's expensive when you look at it from that thing. Any other top 100s you could conceivably fill out? Oh, I've done top 100 expansions. I think I did top 100 dexterity. Didn't I do that just because I said I could? I feel like I did a top 100 dexterity. We might do another top 100. Anyone at Dice Tower affiliate would love thy nerd. I know Sam Healy is. What kind of mics you use? It seems like it's been brushing on your shirt lately. Well, I don't know that the mic, it might be the shirt I'm wearing. Sorry. Still playing Marvel Snap? No, I kind of faded out of it. Do you ever speak with the people at Shut Up and Sit Down? When I run across with them at conventions, sure. Have you considered doing a Dice Tower event in the UK? I have not. I'll likely wait a couple more years before visiting Epic Universe. I don't know if I'll wait years. What I will probably do is wait till a very low time in Florida, since we live close to it, to go. But hopefully, I mean, we would like the tickets to go down. Hobby gaming expense is a lot more than mass market expense. Yes, but mass market games are usually very, very trashy in quality. So that's, and I mean by the component quality too. What is my favorite city on earth and why? I don't know. I've been to a lot of great cities. I really like KL. KL's an amazing city. I like Seoul. KL and Seoul are pretty cool. They would be in my top 2 cities. London was a pretty neat city. London was neat. So that's 3. Washington, D.C., I like that city. That's 4. Philly, that's 5. What are the other cities that have been amazing? Oh, Bangkok, that'd be 6. Yeah, for sure, Bangkok. Trying to think of other cities I've been to and saying yes, no. Minneapolis would have got the pick. They're too cold, so I can't pick them, just based on principle. That seems good to me. Those will be my top 6. 30 days of the best 5 days of the year. Yes, Dice Tower West is coming. I'm excited too. Oh, Mike posted a link to my top 10 great action/dexterity games. What is one of my favorite board game experiences? I've had so many in my life. So many times I play games with people, and I just have a great time with them, whether it's my kids, my family, friends. And I did a top 10 board game experiences one time. I would probably change at some point, new, different themes. But look it up, our top 10 experiences, that'd give you some of them. Will there be a top 100 with you, Sam, and Z in the near future? No, because Sam lives up in Washington, and it's hard to get him here. He came in for the cruise, so we were able to have him in a couple days. I was able to do a top 10. A top 100 takes a week and a half, so that would have been a little too long. Even bringing in Mike for that, there's it's a bit of work to do that. So just so we're not going to see one with me, Sam, and Z. Do you have a favorite sushi roll? Yeah, I do actually. Mango jalapeno. I really like the combination of mango with fresh jalapeno. It's delicious. There's also one in Fort Myers. There's one there. It was a King Kong roll that I got at a restaurant that I really enjoyed. And of course, those are my favorite rolls, but I guess my favorite roll is a really good lobster roll because I love lobster, but those rolls are always so very expensive. I don't even count them really because they just cost so much money. But I do love sushi rolls. I had sushi yesterday. Why is the most boring unboxing my favorite thing to watch to relax? I don't know. If you think board gaming is an expensive hobby, try being a coaster enthusiast, or a hunter, or someone who owns a boat, or any hobby can be very expensive if you let it. Do you think it's a publisher's responsibility to limit the games they make, or do you think it's the responsibility of the consumer to be smart with their purchases? Yes. But to be fair, I've always thought this. I've never really understood why the manufacturer is punished for something that the consumer does. That seems odd to me. You can make a case that if I'm in school giving out drugs, I'm preying upon the weak. But yes, then yes, I should be thrown in prison. But if I'm over across the street selling cupcakes and you walk by and you're like, I shouldn't eat a cupcake, but then you come buy one anyway, that's not on me that you bought the cupcake. What is the Dice Tower team's most stressful time of year? Well, now that's a question. Running the Game Found is definitely up there. But I would say the week before Dice Tower East to Dice Tower East is pretty stressful. Gen Con and Essen are both stressful weeks while we're there. They're fun. I don't know if they're stressful. They're very tiring. Stressful, and maybe the prep weeks for the spectaculars because so much stuff goes on. It's probably Game Found, though. For me, it's Game Found. Has this always been your fashion style? Well, no. I didn't even know these shirts existed 5 years ago. Well, no, I guess I knew they existed, but I like them. This hat, I've always wanted these hats. I've loved these hats since I was a kid. What Dice Tower jobs are unsung heroes? All of them. I mean, you see the people on video, but you don't see all the stuff that goes behind the scenes. I mean, every day Camilla's working on behind the scenes stuff with the Dice Tower East, and Wendy's working on the library, and Chris is moving cameras around and getting things ready for another live playthrough, and Kenny's doing all sorts of logistics and moving boxes and doing things behind the scenes. There's so much that you see. We have an employee named Nancy that you never have even heard of, right? But Nancy works with Mark and helps get the previews and our live plays organized and ready to go. And you never hear about her, but that's what she does. And Emery, of course, running our marketing. There's just so much going on, and I got to be careful because they're all going to watch this and be like, you didn't mention me. But there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. I'm sure Toronto was number 7. I haven't been in Toronto too much. I mean, I went around for Toronto for the game cafes were neat, and the Blue Jays are there, of course, and it seemed like a pretty neat city. So maybe it would be in the top 10. I don't know. Are there any fast food chains that went out of business that you miss? Yeah, Quiznos. I liked Quiznos. Do you ever find it difficult working with your friends, but you are their boss, trying to be their friend, but running a company must be difficult? Sure, that's going to be the issue anywhere. And that has been an issue in the past in many ways, but where we are now, I was, with the exception of Z, everyone's boss first. So that helps a little bit, I suppose. But yeah, it's not an easy thing to navigate that. That's an easy thing to navigate in any working, thing. But I think, I could be wrong, I think everyone here likes me at least a little. So it is nice to hang out. We do hang out and talk together, and I've made some great friends here amongst the Dice Tower crew. Yeah, we hang out together sometimes, not all the time, outside of work. I don't do it often outside of work because I know people need their own lives. I try my best not to call the Dice Tower people over the weekend about anything or anything. I want people to have their weekends and their time off and things like that. But when we're in a car together, we also talk, and it's not always about board games, shockingly. Somehow Philly doesn't seem to fit in with those others. Well, yeah, but that might be because you know Philly. So you look at cities as exotic, maybe. For me, Philly is really close to where I grew up. I grew up in Allentown, Pennsylvania. I like Philly. I like the feeling that Philly gives me. I like the East Pennsylvania feeling. I like the food. I like the looks of the place. I don't know. I just like Philadelphia. I get it. Most people wouldn't put Philadelphia in their top 10, but it's a city of brotherly love, man. Or literally a brotherly shove. What are some board games you wish had an IP on it? And are games you wish didn't have the IP on it? I don't know about didn't. I think that sometimes I'll play a game and go, oh, this game is actually this game. Like Nemesis is actually Aliens. And, this game, another game might feel like something else. I wish games had IPs. I definitely have said this before, although off the top of my head I can't think of one. But I've definitely said, man, I wish this game had an IP. Is the Girl Scouts that we eat too many cookies? I'll tell you what, the Girl Scouts are fierce and mighty. Like when you go down here, they don't come door to door much down here at all. But I don't, no one here in the Dice Tower has a Girl Scout, which I always found to be annoying. They come in, and I worked at a place, and the boss came in and said, my daughter's in a Girl Scout, and then put the list up on the wall for people to order cookies. And I was like, what? Do we have to? I feel like we have to. But they hang out outside Publix, the best grocery store in the world, by the way. And these girls will hang out there, and they will get you. And so I will take all the cash out of my pockets. And then I go in, and I'll be like, I don't have any money on me, sorry. And I'll run because I want the cookies, but I don't want them for the prices they're charging. And I don't really know the girls from the Girl Scouts, so I don't feel like if I know someone, I'll be like, yeah, sure, here's some money. I end up buying them anyway. I don't know how it happens. I haven't seen them in a while, but I know that we're getting really close to the time that they show up. Are you a console gamer or a PC gamer? Well, I'm not a PC gamer because I don't have a PC. I'll play games on whatever, though. I play games on my computer. There's a Mac, whatever games are on it. Like when Sid Meier's Civ 7 comes out, I'll play it on the Mac here. I have a PS5. My kids have a Switch, and I have an iPad. That's what I game on. When I want to buy a new board game, I will check reviews, and I always search for a couple negative reviews so I can see the game's flaws. I wouldn't even call them flaws necessarily. Some games have flaws. Many games have flaws, but some games just that reviewer didn't jive with it. The amount of work Kenny has to go through to get that air horn ready. Is making a game around the theme of gaslighting a bad idea? Is it too sensitive a subject? Look, if you have to ask that question, then maybe I wouldn't. I don't know. I would try to make a game, whatever theme I made a game on, I would try to make one that's not going to get people riled up if I could help it out. If you got a Musk AI robot, what would you have them do at the Dice Tower during a game? I don't even know what those are, so I wouldn't have it. Have you ever let fans visit the studio? Sometimes, if you're in the area, if you're going to be in the area, you can email me at tom@dicetower.com, and I might say yes or no. It all depends how busy we are, how much time we have free, things like that, if we're even there. I can't tell you the number of times people come by and like, I'm ready, I'd like to come by, and I'm like, well, we're at Gen Con, so sorry. That happens a lot. Heroes or Philly cheesesteak? Philly cheesesteak for sure. Shards of Infinity versus Mistborn. Shards of Infinity. We're going on an Alaskan cruise from the UK for a honeymoon in June, and my fiance is trying to convince me to go to the Dice Tower East on our way back. What's Dice Tower East like for honeymooners? Well, I assume it's fantastic. I don't know. Do you want to play games in your honeymoon? Then it's amazing. It's not gonna be as good luxurious-wise as the cruise was, but the Caribe Royale is the best hotel that I stay at. But all the hotels we go all over the world, I think the Caribe Royale is an amazing hotel. And then we're playing games. It'll be a really fun time. I would recommend it. When parts go missing from a convention, how do you go about replacing unique components? We try to go back to where we got them originally. Jersey Mike's just got bought for $8 billion. Who bought Jersey Mike's? Jersey Mike's just got bought. That was in like November 19th. Blackstone bought them. I don't know. I do like Jersey Mike's though. They are the best. They are the best of the chains for subs by far, in my opinion. They're better than Quiznos, Subway. They're better than Jimmy John's. They're better than Firehouse. Although Firehouse has great hot sauces. They're great. I like them a lot. Jersey Mike's. Are there any particular games in the Dice Tower library that need to be replaced often because of wear and tear? Not that many, actually, but some card games like the Lord of the Rings deck building game, trick taking game that this was in had to be replaced. That happens, but it's not too often. They'll last for a pretty good time. Do folks from Allentown like the song Allentown from Billy Joel? Love the song myself, but since it's about the town's decline, I always wondered how it made people from there feel. I don't know. It got mentioned, but not that often, I guess. Allentown is kind of a town in decline. The big thing about Allentown was always that's where the headquarters of Mack Trucks was. Then that moved away, and then, of course, Allentown was right next to Bethlehem Steel, which was, for a while, the second biggest steel plant in America. Now Bethlehem is a big Christmas city, I guess. So yeah, Allentown, Bethlehem, Catasauqua, Emmaus, all these different little cities put there together. The Crayola factory is there. There's a few other things that are in that area, but not particularly, right? I don't know. I liked it though. Publix subs are better than all other subs. No, I'm going to put Jersey Mike over Publix, actually. But Publix is pretty good. Is there a duel game that you really want to be made? No. Girl Scouts take credit cards now? Ah, that's worse. You just have to. So what I'll get out. I'll get ready to go in the store, and I'll wait for someone else to walk in the door, and I try to walk on the other side of them, and as fast as I can. Are there any games you wish you could play more, but you struggle to find other people to play with? And it's not that I struggle to find people to play with. It's more about time than anything else. Can I send in a candidate for the crowd surfing show? No. I mean, you can, but I won't look at it. I don't want to be influenced by anything when we pick the stuff that we look at for crowd surfing. Do you ever miss the old days where the Dice Tower was much simpler with just you, Z, and Sam doing top 10s without a studio? Well, sure, but you always miss the old times. You always look back, no matter where you are in life, you're like, it's like when people go, times were simpler when I was a kid. Sort of. Maybe they were. But the fact of the matter is, times were also harder then, too. And you forget about that. You know, I don't miss spending 2, 3, 4 hours editing a top 10 list now. I got someone to do it for me. But yeah, simpler times were good, but I'm happy with where we're at right now. Are you getting a Switch 2? Well, I'm not going to get it, but I wouldn't imagine my kids are going to ask for it. We'll have to see what it does. They haven't really shown anything other than it's bigger. That's it. Have your kids settled into favoring different genres of board games? How do to you? Yeah, I think my son likes open world games. So do my kids. I think they all like open world games. Violet likes JRPGs. Ruby likes games that involve other people if possible. So she likes Mario Party, Mario Kart. Jimmy likes anything that moves right now, but I think his favorite thing is open world. I saw that Mike put Viking Seesaw. Have you heard of Riff Raff? I have heard of Riff Raff because I have reviewed it on my channel. Can you explain Dice Tower Essentials? What are the sums of the games? Some of the games, I think is what you're saying, and how they became Essentials. Well, I'm the person who picks all the games. I mean, Arcane Wonders has to approve it, but it works through Arcane Wonders. I have done a video on what are Dice Tower Essentials on the channel that explains it, hopefully usefully for you. So that's what I would check out. Oh, and Mike just put a link in the description. Aldi is the best grocery store in the world. I've only been to Aldi a few times, so I don't know. But Publix is fantastic. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure, and I mean that. I will go out of my way to go to a Publix over any other grocery stores in the area. In fact, with the grocery stores we have in the area are Walmart, Publix, Aldi, and what's the other one? Winn-Dixie. Yeah, so Walmart's the worst. So I go to Walmart sometimes. I can't help it because it's just cheap. You know, you got to get some cheap stuff, especially food. But Winn-Dixie, I hardly ever go to. Aldi, my wife goes to a lot because she likes the cheap prices and everything. But if I'm shopping, it is Publix. I'm leaving for Orlando this Friday. Can't wait. Have a great time. Firehouse is much better than Jersey Mike's. Now. Potbelly is better than Jersey Mike's. Well, we don't have any Potbellies down here, so I can't really speak to that. Maybe they are. You know the one I miss? I don't know if there's still any around, but they were around 20 years ago, Schlotzsky's. I really like Schlotzsky's. They weren't subs, they were round sandwiches. Oh, they were good. After the craziness of last year with deduction games, would you like to redo your top 10 deduction games list? I do plan to redo it, but I'll probably wait till 26 or 27. How do you manage to remember the rules for so many games? Whew, I don't. Do you read them before gameplay each time? Well, I usually quick start reading through them. Just give me a quick summary of them. I read very fast, so that's a benefit where I can just look at mine like, oh yeah, that's right, that's how this game plays. So if I know the game by heart, I'll still look up how many cards you deal out, whatever. You'll be surprised how many rules errors you'll make otherwise. Do you still check thrift stores for board games? Yes, but not very often. I'll tell you one of the main reasons is thrift stores around here just aren't very good. In South Florida, thrift stores they're just full of trash. So I just don't go to them very often. Allentown, at least we're not Reading. What's wrong with Reading? Reading's fine. Sounds like you're scared of the Girl Scout Syndicate. Indeed I am. What is the best con for picking up old games for cheap? I don't know. Any con that has a flea market. Dice Tower East has one. I know because we bring it in there. They're not necessarily old games though. You're getting new games for a cheap price. Do you plan to start sleeving hot game deck builders in the near future? No, I don't think I'll ever sleeve a deck builder. I just think it's a pain in the neck. If they get beat up, we might replace it, but I'm not going to sleeve it. Because they won't continue on that way in the future. Will you be continuing the history of the Dice Tower? Yeah. History of the Dice Tower. When's the last one I did? The last one I did was 14, I guess. Year 2017. No, that can't be the last one I did. 2017. That was 5 years ago I did that. Huh. I don't know what, Let me look on my own channel here. Searching through my own channel. History. 19. That's 2022. Yeah, I'm not doing it. I did that in 2023. So 24, we're now in 25, 26, 27, probably in 27. 27 or 28, I'll do it again. I don't do it that often. A lot of people like watching these histories. We have one called History of the Dice Tower Anthology, which is all of them put together, and that's been watched 60,000 times, so go figure. Oh, then we have one that included the new ones on top of that, but that one's only been watched 7,000 times. It's 5 hours. Who wants to listen to me blather for 5 hours? I'm glad I did it, though, because I'm going to need to go back and watch it to understand what happened, because I don't remember. Alrighty, folks, well, that is it for today. There is no more live things for the rest of today because we are going to be prepping for tomorrow. We'll be playing Dragon Eclipse here, so we'll be doing that a little bit later today. We're going to practice off camera so that we can play it tomorrow morning. So that'll be our next live thing. We got Dragon Eclipse tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, we have What's Happening with Z. Wednesday, we have Crowd Surfing. Thursday, we have both Board Game Smorgasbord and Top 10 Weeknight Games. So that's an interesting topic. And then Friday, we might be streaming live from the Board Game Bash. If we can figure out a little bit of setup, how to do that easily, we'll probably give that one a whirl. So there you go. Yeah, that's what's coming up this week. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Q&A here on the Dice Tower. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.